You do, and I think that segues really well into the kind of the main bulk of what I wanted to talk about this week, which was Google Stadia. Which every time that I told someone about that, both in text and voice, I had to be like, no, like don't Google it. I mean, you can, but no, Google's the company. Like I had to specify. But for Stadia, for those of you who don't know, Google Stadia is Google's streaming platform for gaming. As we talked about the Netflix of games, I mean, they haven't talked about the how you. I'm gonna guess it's a subscription, like a Game Pass, because I was watching the integration of people like being on YouTube and just clicking, oh, I want to play it. Like, I want to play this game. Anyways, so what this will do is this will essentially use cloud computing, AMD processors and servers within Google's data centers, and instead of playing a game local on your PC or on a console, you're just going to stream your gameplay to them, and your controller. Your controller's a wireless endpoint that syncs to your game. So it doesn't sync to your screen, it syncs to your profile. It sounds amazing. We literally just talked about this last week, the week before, talking about streaming games, like the future of gaming being boxless. We've gone diskless, now we may go boxless. There's no console to be had.
Which is why I find it interesting that before I get into my opinions, though, I find it interesting how excited you are based on the fact that you just got done talking about how you like physical media. I do. I love physical media, and if it's something. That being said, the majority of like my media consumption in the house that is non-gaming is like Netflix, Amazon, Hulu. Like we cut cable. I know you haven't, but like I cut cable. I did.
Oh, you did? Oh,
I Sling TV.
Yeah, Sling, that's right. I was thinking like your sports packages, but yeah, Sling has.
Yeah, there's no way I can't get rid of sports.
Of course, no. I knew that, but like we cut cable because we got it when we moved to Florida. It was like, oh, it's a special package, and it ended up being like just a little bit more to have cable. And I'm like, oh, let's splurge. We're out here alone. We turned it on 2 or 3 times in like 6 or 7 months. Yeah. Like we never use it. I'm on Netflix. I'm watching digital stuff like that. If I can pick up and play a game digitally, I like that. Don't get me like I do. If it is a Netflix-like subscription where I can choose to play something, that's great. I would also like the option to own it. I know that sounds weird, but when Netflix has contract negotiations, certain things come fall off. It may be the same thing with this. I don't know how their contracts are going to work. Is it going to be like a year-long contract to play Crackdown 2, or because I'm not playing Crackdown 3, let's be honest, but like if you're playing like Sea of Thieves or whatever it is Google going to have a contract per game with like Xbox or is it going to be per developer? Because they're not putting these on here for free. They have to get paid somehow. The developers and distributors and everyone have to get paid somehow, right? I guess distribution's the only thing that's getting really screwed here.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Oh, I got plenty of things to say about this.
Yeah.
The thing that surprised me the most, though, was the negative reaction to it. I was like shocked across all the media, the Twitter, the Facebook groups that I'm in, the nerd collections of video gamers. There were so many people that were not happy about this. I didn't know what they were expecting to happen. Did they think that it wasn't going to be internet based? It's freaking Google.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get. There were so many people complaining. In the thing that you've already mentioned is the Netflix of games, and people acting like that's like the destruction of everything, right? But they're not acknowledging the fact that the Netflix of games is already here. You already have Xbox Game Pass. You already have PlayStation Now. You already have Nintendo's weird online thingy.
Yeah.
Where that it's old school, but you have these things where you have a great selection of titles that you get to choose from and play as long as you're connected to the internet. I was so surprised at the reaction to this.
I think it's because the majority of, not majority of people, but the majority of areas, so there's a difference between that, majority areas of the United States won't have a good enough connection to play these games, at least at 4K. I mean, definitely not.
No, that's never going to happen. But what Google did come out and say is, because they did interview him at GDC. Yep. Forgive me, I don't know who they talked to. They're not big enough yet for me to know like gaming names at Google. I know the one lady that they hired, and that's it.
Yeah, like last week. Yeah.
They said you're not going to get like the people who are going to get 4K. I might be able to manage it, but even then, I doubt it. Is a very high number. But what they actually said is based on the fact that they're locating these servers throughout the country and throughout the other countries that Google supports. So they're trying to make it as close as possible to different regions. So somebody in a rural area might have a problem, but you only need 25 down.
Yeah.
To get... And I think that that's accurate.
Yeah.
I used Google Stream over Christmas, as I've talked about a few times at this point. I have 120 down connection at my house, and it ran like a dream. I know that not everybody has that connection, but a lot of people have 25.
Yeah, Kevin just said in the comments that he's got 25, but he said it's flaky, which is going to cause an issue. Like if your
latency is a big thing already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already having that every now and then, which I'm considering calling Verizon about. I haven't had a big issue, but every now and then.
Is it still Verizon over there,
it's
or
Frontier.
is it
it's Frontier? Sorry,
Frontier.
yeah.
Okay,
I meant Frontier. I don't know why I said Verizon
because of FiOS.
Because of FiOS, yeah. It's good, and then just every now and then, it starts like being flaky and bottoming out, and then it's fine.
Yeah.
And
you got your own router, right?
I have my own router. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So, and that's where that's the only problem is because it's my own router. I have had times where they're like, "Oh, it's because you're using your own router. It's your router's problem." It's basically, I'm like, you're talking to the wrong person. You can't get off the phone with me like that.
Like, I have a Nighthawk, dude. Leave me alone.
Like, this is gonna be fine. They're like, "Oh, you're using the wrong type of cable." I'm like, "Yeah, really?"
Yep, those Cat 6 cables are super uncommon.
Yeah, exactly. And anyway, or you have too many devices on your Wi-Fi. I'm like, real? Okay,
Well, have you tried turning it off and turning it back on again?
Yeah, I have, and if you do that like 2 or 3 times, then is it turning it off and on that makes it work again, or is it because you've let the problem lapse? It's because the problem's lapsed. I mean, and then they're like, "Yay, we won."
So I get where people's thing is, but they wanted to target the United States specifically, and that's where I think one of the most interesting side conversations is that out of all the countries that this is going to launch in, the States is actually one of the in terms of like modern we're not, what's the word? We're not industrial. What's the could it be the industrial?
First world countries.
I guess so. Yeah. We are in we're in the bottom of the top 10 in terms of average connection speed.
Yeah, and
it's going to be fine in so many other countries.
We also pay more for our connections than they do in a lot of other countries, other than I think New Zealand and a couple others where you have to buy a la carte. By the way, we talk about I'm not going to get on a soapbox about it, but like the whole idea of a free internet is so you don't have to go, oh, you have an internet connection, but if you want to use Facebook, it's another $5. It's like, no. Facebook's free, or whatever service is free. Like, I'm not going to pay you for Netflix and then pay Netflix. It's not going to happen. And that's how it is in New Zealand.
Yeah, I think it's Australia too.
Yeah, I think so. Where like
I could be completely wrong.
If you have to have a package that says, "Oh, I have a social media package which lets me use Twitter and Facebook. I have a streaming package which it's like $10 more to use Netflix and Amazon." I'm like, already paying Netflix and Amazon, and Netflix and Amazon are already paying for their connection. So, anyways,
I get where people are coming from there, but the thing about this is like they're acting like it's going to be so disruptive that one, Do you not think that Sony and Microsoft are already thinking about this? Microsoft, especially. They came out with the Game Pass. There's a diskless box that they are making. Do you think that this is not already on their developers' minds? Google just happens to say, hey, we're like this. What they're doing is perfectly Google. Like they're for people who didn't see the presentation, there's points in there where they're talking about integrating plugins with your YouTube streamers, your Twitch streamers, even, which was really surprising to me, by the way, that they included Twitch in the presentation. Where you see Patrick playing the game, and I'm like, click, I'm playing the game.
Yes,
that's insane.
Yes, and they said in 5 seconds you're playing. No load. There's no load time. Yeah, the
consumeristic aspect of this is ridiculous. This is like a wet dream in terms of like, how much money can I make these people spend? And that's where you talk about what kind of model is it. And I don't see how it couldn't be both. There's no way that they're just going to say it's streaming only whenever they can make money off the people who will have an a la carte mindset. Yeah, where it's like, I only want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, so I'm going to pay $60 for that.
Yeah.
I don't want the all streaming service. Sure. There's going to be the people who do both, where like
people still play PC games. People still play PC games, even though PC is relegated to basically Steam and a couple other digital purchase. But PC gamers are still around, even though the market has really turned its back to PC gamers. Game developers have turned their back on PC gamers because it's a smaller and smaller crowd every year. But
Master Brain.
But I think, I mean, I get it. I play PC games sometimes, but it's easier to play console games. And if this is going to be even easier, it's all about the ease of access. If I can pick up my controller, hit the button, and it's like. That's the only thing that I wanted clarity on. You and I were talking about in a poll back and forth. They showed that he was going from device to device to device. I want to know how that integration happens. Basically, like if the last time that if it's like maybe it's the last place that you played it, because he unhooked like a USB and it started syncing up to something else. So.
Yeah. So in the controller, they haven't explained all the ins and outs, and a lot of what they did was a side note that people were critical of the presentation. I'm like, it was at GDC. This isn't an E3 press conference. No. This was for developers. The thing that they talked about, that the technology is in the controller. Again, something else where you're like, dude, this is so cool. Like, how can you not be excited at even the thought of this? Is the fact that the controller isn't just your standard like Bluetooth controller like your PS4 or your Xbox or your Joy-Con. It has Wi-Fi in it.
Yeah.
So it's attaching itself to the network of the thing that you're starting up. I imagine what it is in terms of like the way that it's integrated, like you said, the last signed in, is that since I'm signed in on Stadia on my computer and signed in on Stadia on my Chromecast, whatever one that I activated on, so I would just click.
I think that's what it is.
And then controller knows. I go over to my TV, I turn on Chromecast, click, I'm in.
Yeah, I think so. I think that whatever screen you're using, you have to tell the device, hey, I'm going to play this, and then the controller syncs up to that. Basically, like if you have an account, I'm assuming I can only play it on one screen. It's not going to be like Netflix where I have like up to X amount of users. Unless they can pair to your controllers. The reason that I say that is if I had one account and Whitney wants to play, I don't think that it's going to let her play in there and me play in here, even if I had that good of an internet connection.
No,
I don't think it's going to let that happen.
No. And because everybody has a Gmail account.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's probably going to be something that they would be remiss not to, but there's probably going to be a thing like they have with YouTube services now. They have a family platform where you pay an extra $5 a month. It would probably be more than that for video games, but you pay your extra $5 a month and you get to add somebody else's email address to it, and they can share your stuff.
I may do that with Whitney if they let me use YouTube. What it used to be YouTube Red, YouTube Pro, whatever they're called. Premium. Sorry,
is what it is now. No,
it used to be Red, but
it's a dumb name.
It's a really bad. I think Red was a bad name, anyways. But, you had too many jokes about it, but anyways, if I could, like, if I could have her use, because I have that, she said she didn't want it, but if it's only $5 a month, I could add her, and then she won't have to worry about commercials anymore. Because that's really the biggest, that and the way I can download videos to watch later, and that's really helped me, like, on plane.
That's one of my favorite things about Netflix now.
Oh yeah, being able to do that and being able to kind of get ready if you're going to be on a plane, on a trip or whatever. Not that it happens all the time, but when it happens, I'm like, okay, I need to be entertained for the next 4 hours, and it's the 21st century, and I'm not reading a book. So
everything about this excites me. The only thing that didn't excite me was their tagline, which I made fun of on my own accord, because it's a ridiculous tagline, to be quite honest. What was it again? The future of gaming is not a box. You have to have a box. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, I guess the Chromecast is now a disc and not a box.
So,
but no matter what, you have to play this on something. I get what the point was, but I think it was a dumb tagline.
Well, the only so we're talking about if you're playing on a TV, which is the biggest. I think a lot of our conversation's been around being able to play it and have it replace your consoles. Which when I told Whitney about this presentation and told her what it was, she looked at me and looked at the consoles, and she said, "Get rid of it." like as in get Stadia and get rid of these consoles that are on the in the entertainment center.
I mean,
like,
pry my PS4 out of my cold dead finger.
Oh no, like, she knows. Oh, they would be in this office, and I would probably come up with some way to.
No, we know.
Yeah,
I act strong and tough, but we know that if the lady of the house said, "Get your consoles out of the living room," yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
I might complain a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, at the same time, you and I are both in a situation where our wives game, so like, they'll say that, but then they'll also they won't straight up say that, because if they said that, then we'd be like, all right, well, you go play Kingdom Hearts in your room or whatever game you're playing. Like,
I just can't. I can't see how anybody couldn't, like, at the very least be like cautiously interested or something, because the thing about this, not only do you have the console, like, the idea of I can have a room that doesn't have a console. Like, think about, like, I have a kid coming, and in terms of that, where, like, if I could just pick a room that has the Chromecast in it, and hopefully it gets added to, like, things like Roku in the future. I can't see why they wouldn't do it. But right now, it's Chromecast and PC. Anything that, or not just PC, anything that can run a Chrome browser, which is already pretty extensive. The fact that you could pick up in any room, like, I want to go play there, like you were just saying, but not only that, I could go on the road, I could take a trip, and I could just have my Chromecast HDMI plug, and if I can get Wi-Fi at my hotel, I can play a game.
Yeah, and if it's a decent Wi-Fi connection, we're also moving into what, as we were talking about recently, we're moving into the realm of 5G. 5G is going to be a thing very shortly. And if it becomes prominent enough, and I can have that connection, then I don't really have to worry about that. But I think you hit the nail on, you hit it completely on the head right there when you mentioned being able to just pick wherever you want to go. And that's what I love about playing my Nintendo Switch. I'm not playing, because I know everyone views their Switch in a different way. I used to view it as a traditional console that I could take with me on the go. And it's not really that. It is a handheld. But because I have the option, if I'm playing Zelda, like, I have the option to dock it and just sit back and enjoy and not have to be hunched over. That being said, when I first got it, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna play this thing docked, and I may play it handheld every now and then. That didn't happen, because, like you said, if someone's watching TV, if the wife's watching TV, it can go handheld. I have the option, not because our wives run the show, but they kind of do. But if she gets off work and she's like, I don't want to play a game, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to hog the TV and play the game while you want to watch your shows. You can watch that. I can play something while you do it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I will literally. I have 3 decently sized TVs in my house. There's the one in the living room, and then there's 2 other ones. There's one in the bedroom. If I can have, like, I complain a little bit to myself all the time where I only have one PlayStation 4. Yeah. So if she's watching something, I'm not going to kick her off the TV. No. I'm not going to be like, unless it's something like she would know ahead of time.
Sure.
If I was really, and those times are perfectly fine. But I suddenly get the itch. I want to play little Spider-Man. And I can't.
Yeah.
Can't play Spider-Man because I'm not going to go in there and be rude and say, hey, wife, leave. No. Oh, what? Oh, I got this little controller. Oh, I just walk into the other 42-inch TV on the other side of the house, and I'm playing Spider-Man now. Heck, yeah. Tell me how you could be against this, people.
I literally saw someone in a comment section arguing, saying, well, I can just unplug it and bring my Xbox into the other room. Like, first of all, who does that? Second of all, I'm sorry. Like, you're living with your parents or you live on your own, because when you have another person you're living with, you don't make those decisions to be like, I'm just going to start yanking cords and stuff and like while someone's watching TV. No.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, no, Whitney would just pause the TV and look at me. Like, seriously?
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that? Like, I'm not going to do that to her. I'm not going to do that to her. She wouldn't do that to me. So, yeah. Robert in the comments is talking wireless HDMI. We were talking about that. I need to look into that because I have heard that if you used wireless HDMI, you could essentially have a setup. And Robert may correct me with this, but you could essentially have a setup where you're running everything from a closet, which is kind of an ideal situation. Everything's out of. But I heard
chalk another one up for Plex.
But also in addition to that, you can have multiple bands, multiple outputs, if you will, because that would allow. If I could set that up, I may do something like this where I have 2 outputs where if Whitney's watching something, I can toggle to the secondary output and play PlayStation or whatever, and the PlayStation is essentially set up for multiple TVs instead of one TV. That I can get behind.
The only thing would be, and Robert could probably correct me on this too, would be, a thumbs up.
He said, "Yep, you can do that." So
is the latency, like the thing that we're already talking about with Google Stadia to begin with. But now, if you added wireless HDMI transmission to that, is that even more controller input lag?
So
it has to be.
It has to be. I'd have to test it because.
It's got to be some good line of sight or something.
Well, it's not line of sight. It's creating, I believe it's creating essentially an SDP stream to Google, not to the TV, or not.
Said latency is a problem for the crappy ones. So if you're gonna do, you got to invest.
Okay, so it's something I thought about doing anyways, because the idea being like I could have all my consoles like in a either in the corner of this room or in a closet or wherever, as long as it's well ventilated. Don't everyone freak out on me. But to be able to do that and be able to access everything, I mean, I already use a universal remote anyways. Press one button, everything changes. So if I could put that with wire, maybe in the next house, I'll set something up like that.
That's why I love my Roku TV. It's literally like 4 buttons.
Yeah.
That would be cool. It's one thing that it's a side of networking that I've never engaged too far in because I don't know why. It's probably something that as I move forward here, I'm going to need to do more of. Right now, I even don't have matching hardware everywhere. Like in 2 rooms, I have Roku's. In 1 room, I have an Apple TV, and in 1 room, I have an Amazon Fire Stick. And that's literally because I wanted to try all of them and see which one I liked the best. And as it rotated out, the ones that I liked least went to the least used TVs. But eventually, that's going to have to be like all one thing. But if you do ever want to know about this stuff, Robert really is your guy to talk to. If you want to know about anything, anything about like how tech works and all that stuff. And what's cool, I'm going to give him a little shout out right here just because he's always tuning in.
Yeah.
He actually runs his own Facebook page where he tries to make it like make sense for us normal folk. And now I'm trying to think of the name of his page. But yeah, reach out to him for that wireless HDMI, and then teach me how to do it.
I'm going to reach out to him on that, and to do some type of Plex server kind of system, because what I'm using works, but I again go back to the wife thing. But like I have digital. He said Whoop. Is that the name of it?
No, that's not the name.
Oh, okay.
I think he's just cheering.
Okay.
Post your page in there.
Sure. Yeah, post your page and we'll give you a shout out. But he was like, so when, I use digital, like downloaded movies. They were running off my Xbox. It's like a media off the Xbox, which is fine. But I would like it to be and I think Plex is like this, where you can essentially sync the file, so that way they know, like, oh, this is the season, this is this. So it has a nice user interface, because I want whatever I move to have a nice user interface for her and myself to just be sitting on the couch and just, set it up.
Yeah.
I've previously just like streamed stuff off my PC, which is fine, but it's not easy access for her. So
I honestly think my only problem with is that I don't. And I know that there's going to be the day that I run into not having internet. There's going to be some day that I have an internet outage, and that's when I'm going to hate myself. But for the most part, I just like having everything logged into the same services. Like I have a lot of stuff through like Voodoo and through Movies Anywhere from all the different services that I've done. And I like not having to worry about hard drive space.
Yeah, I agree.
Just logging in. And before I move back to just saying how awesome Stadia is, Robert's page is the average tech guy.
Yeah.
But ending my thoughts on it, I don't see how anybody couldn't be excited about it. Do I expect it to be super successful right out of the gate? I really need to see what their models are going to be, and I want to see who they've gotten to work with them. Like they did announce at the same time their own game company, but they're going to be working with like third-party services. I expect to see more Ubisoft for sure. Who else is there going to be? Is it going to be another OnLive situation? Is it going to be another Google Plus situation where, because they can afford to lose, they don't care enough? That's another complaint that people are having. But I just can't see, if they bothered to make this giant presentation at GDC, it was an hour long. They've put so much money into this. Google Stream works. I've tested it. It works extremely well. Will it work that much on the broader market? I don't know. But I don't get how you can't think that this is cool. Like, this is the future, man. Like, the easier it gets to play games, I don't see how people can be upset with that.
No, I agree. That's what it's all about. To me, it's ease of access, and I know that there are purists, like, and I kind of put myself in that kind of in that category when I was talking about like physical media and everything. But it is so easy, and if gaming becomes that easy, it hits a wider spectrum of people. It's the whole idea of Apple. You're taking a device that used to be like for only the nerdy people who, like, that's all they did was play on computers, and then Apple turned computers and smartphones into, first of all, smartphones being a thing, but the average user going, oh, well, this is so easy to use. Everyone can use an iPad. I mean,
yeah,
my grandma used an iPad for a bit. I mean, my father-in-law uses an iPad, so anyone can do it. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we were having more talks today about how much that really, like, we're still not to the point of replacing computers completely, but having a conversation today of just how many things that you can do with your iPad that are even working smoother than they are when you were doing it on your PC before.
Yeah.
It's all cool, man. How can you not think this stuff is cool, guys? Get excited, get hyped.
It's good progress. It's good progress, and I'm saying that because
competition breeds innovation.
Competition breeds innovation, and not all, not all progress is good, if you will. Like, of course, there is some progress that, like, kind of, takes some progress that isn't beneficial. but you have to push towards progress. And to me,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, we don't have good enough internet connections. All right, well, maybe if this becomes more of a thing, more people are going to push for a decent internet connection, and the prices will get a little better.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just say like, you know, oh, there's not a market for it. This is the future of gaming. This is the future of media. I mean, like I said, Netflix, and I'm on Netflix so much that, like, you know, them dropping movies on there made perfect sense when they're like, hey, we're going to come up with our own movies and our own TV shows. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's fine because I'm already watching. Like, I'm already here. It's ease of access. I don't have to worry about where is it. Do I need an app? Do I need to go buy it? No, it's there. So I think it really helps.
Yeah, I can't overstate how just cool the idea is to me. I don't know how well it's going to work, but even if it crashes and burns, it's not like I still don't have my PlayStation, my Switch, and my Xbox. Sure. They're still there. They're not like, and everybody should know they're working on similar stuff, guys.
Yes.
Like, the industry is saying that we are probably like 2 console generations removed from not having like consoles as you know them. Yeah,
I'm completely fine with that. We talked about that. It's a weird feeling, like, but if that is the move towards the future in the ease and the way that it affects my lifestyle, it's perfect. I can take my game on the go with me. I don't have to worry about, like I said, as long as I have a decent internet connection, I can play it anywhere. I can take it in the other room without you know, taking 5 or 10 minutes of getting on the floor and having to move the dogs away from me as I'm trying to unplug cables and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much easier. And that coming from a guy who does not mind running cables and stuff. Like, I just don't want to do it all the time. Get it set up, let it be. Yeah.
I think that we could probably go on forever and ever about how cool we both think this is, and I'm glad that there's somebody else who agrees with me. Whenever I met, like, I sent Patrick a polo, the second that it happened, I was just like, Google Stadia. Yep. It's just, that was the radiation from me, just because, like, it's so cool to me. But I think what we're going to have to do this week, just based on the level thing of stuff with Stadia, is that even though we did get a couple of good topics from some people, and thank you very much for doing that. We will get to them next week. Hopefully we have them written down. Yep. But I think we're going to have to talk about some Nindies and do maybe a double dose of You Made Me Do This next week. I think that sounds good. We'll make it up to you guys, because we had some good feedback. I think Umbrella Academy should be one of them, because I need to finish it anyways, so I'll put that on my list to finish. And we also had underused video game characters, and while I have 3, I do want to get a nice, like, top 5 list. So plan for, hopefully, unless it just somehow becomes another big news week next week, plan for those 2 topics. Heck yeah. Next week. Excited.
Thanks for watching This Week in Our Collective Heads. Subscribe over here and click the bell, and that way you'll know about any new videos that we put up, because we put up a lot of gameplay, a lot of stories from games and stuff like that, and gameplay is down here.
Yeah, and you got more editorials and news stuff down here. Check it out.